Good morning and welcome to another installment of Breaking the Fast. Wow, the last day of 39 and what an adventure it's been. I struggled a little to find a topic for today's podcast, and full disclosure, I got a little bit of imposter syndrome. I'm like, what am I doing? Maybe I don't have anything valuable to share or say, and all of these disempowering thoughts. And I was just like, nah, you got to just figure it out. I didn't do the podcast last night because I just felt like I wanted to have something really valuable to contribute. And after some meditation and some journaling, I thought, what a perfect subject, the last day of 39, as I reflect on the last decade of my achievements, the contrast, the alignment, the lessons, the loss, the gains. I thought, what a perfect subject for today's podcast: progress versus perfection. Now, as a recovering perfectionist, I struggle some days to find the magic in the progress, but it isn't until I'm able to sit still and be with my own thoughts and my own energy in a very still, quiet space, am I able to really articulate and appreciate the progress and just piss the perfection off. I was sitting on the end of the wharf today, just reveling in the magic of my full circle 360 Sydney experience. And for those of you who know me or have been following my journey, y'all would know that I didn't leave Sydney 5 years ago in the most of empowering ways. I was burnt out. I was broken. I was not making very good choices, definitely not making healthy choices for my highest and best. And I was just depleted, void, morally bankrupt, the whole works and jerks, literally flatlining. So for me to be sitting here at the edge of the world with nothing in between me and the ocean and the majesty of this city and the magic, reflecting on the last 5 years, overwhelmed with joy, gratitude, and love for the journey, for the progress. And it's funny because there is such perfection in the progress, and I never saw it until this morning. And even though I feel like I diverted and went the long way around and detoured, I've ended up literally back in exactly the same position geographically that I was 5 years ago. However, with a renewed perspective, a renewed energy, a very different, expansive trajectory, and still in the same amazing, expanded existence that I was before. When sitting here in the middle of Ryan Gosling's set of his new movie, The Fall Guy, and I was so down on myself when I left Sydney because I thought I'd fucked it all up. I thought I'd blown up my life and I was such a failure, and I couldn't believe that I had gotten myself into that position after my huge success, inverted commas. And I felt like I had wasted the opportunity and really just fucked it up. I was feeling shame and guilt and embarrassment. And now sitting here in the same energy, the big city vibe, the celebrity, the this, the that, I don't really care about that. It's not the driving force. And I'm here on a soul-centered existence now. And it's a different vibe, but I'm still managing to manifest circumstances of great magnitude like I never thought I would be able to do again because I thought I was such a failure because my life wasn't perfect and yada. the struggle really is the gift. And inside of the contrast is such an amazing opportunity for us to learn and grow. And from nothing, we really can create everything. I'm sitting here on the other side of a very intense 5-year journey, and I can articulate the progress, celebrating the small wins. It's 7:30 a.m. I have slayed my steps. I have meditated. I've visualized my day. I connected with Ryan Gosling this morning as he cruised past me on his little dinghy. It was hardly a dinghy, but anyway, like a scene out of the James Bond movie. But it was really cool. And I'm a lot clearer. I'm a lot more grounded. Not even grounded. It's you're either pregnant or you're not. I am grounded. You're either grounded or you're not. And that's one of the biggest lessons I think that I have learned in the past 5 years is that you don't have to be grounded in a place. You're grounded in yourself and in your soul and with that internal connection to that infinite energy that creates worlds. And that's where a lot of us get twisted or make the mistake of thinking that grounding needs to be in a person, place, or thing. And we start relying heavily on external feel-goods for either euphoria or validation or whatever the case may be. So sitting here, I thought that Sydney was the problem when actually it was me and my alignment, very much out of alignment, very much focused on external feel-goods, external everything. So turning inward and having no other option but to do that gave rise to a whole new mindset, a whole new way of being, a whole new trajectory, and a whole new set of values that I had not been able to tap into or live by as I was so connected by that external ego operating system, egoic operating system. Excuse me if I'm just going all over the place, but I'm just feel like there's so much valuable information to share here, and I might be going a little bit all over the place, but progress or not perfection. For me, the progress is I'm sitting here. I'm not rushing into my day. I'm surrounding myself with really amazing, inspiring, up to big stuff human beings. It's actually quite funny because someone from my past offered to take me out for dinner. And I said yes, and we're going to go to this fancy restaurant. And then I just remembered how much of an energy suck this person is. And there's just no quality of conversation there. And then I'm like, why are you going out with this person for dinner? And I've since cancelled the dinner because I also too, inside of that progress and perfection, I've got very clear and articulate on what are my big rocks, what are my little rocks, and what is the sand taking up space. And so those of you who are not familiar with this example of life and the important things and fitting everything in, there's a study and an example called Big Rocks and Little Rocks, which I resonate with immensely. Basically, if you take a jar and you say take 5 oranges, 3 cherries, and a whole bunch of sand, if you put the sand in the jar first, followed by the cherries and then the oranges, not everything fits into the jar. However, if you take everything back out of the jar and you put the oranges in the jar first, followed by the cherries and then the sand, everything fits into the jar. So as an example, the oranges are representative of the big things that matter, the big projects that are the key building blocks to our life. So for me right now, my 5 oranges or my big rocks consist of my health, consist of my finances, my financial freedom, consist of my studies, my learning, completing my courses, consists of my mental health, which really comes back to mastering my morning routine, and my nutrition. So they are the big rocks in my life. The small cherries would be connecting with friends, my pole dancing, my passions, and also to my, what is my third cherry? Yeah, family and friends. So those are the things on the outside that I'm enjoying. And then the sand, that I can't really articulate what the sand is because I don't have too much space of sand right now. So those are the things that I am putting into the jar. And it's so interesting because if using this example of catching up with this person for dinner or whatever the case may be, if generally those things that don't light our soul on fire or fuel our life's purpose take up a lot of energy and a lot of space. However, if we pour from a full cup and fill our cup up with the things that matter and light our soul on fire first, we always seem to have space and time and energy for the other things that are not so big in importance, but still a part of our lives and how we wish to live them. So it was interesting for me now, the conversation that I'm having myself is this aligned with my big rocks? Is this going to propel the game of my life and assist me to fulfill my goals? By doing this set action, i.e. going out with somebody who drains my energy, am I taking away time and energy from the things that light my soul and actions that I need to take to propel my goals into existence? That is a really big thing for me because, as my old coach Ryan Fries used to say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. As part of the progress versus perfection trajectory, I've really been able to be aware and witness myself doing exactly that. How I spend my time and my money and my energy, which are my three most valuable currencies right now. I've noticed the similarities on how I spend those three commodities. Interesting. I get to the end of the day, and in the past, I would get to the end of the day and say I only have 100 calories to spend. And then I will go off and have a 600 calorie meal and go, oh, no, should be right. Or if I had budgeted a certain amount of money for a certain things, but I found something else to buy, I'd be like, oh, no, should be right, and take from another pot. And same with the time. So for me to have that awareness around that and be able to maneuver and pivot and correct my actions to be in alignment with my highest and best and achieving my goals and honoring those big rocks or those oranges in the jar. It's such progress. It's definitely not perfect. I'm definitely still experiencing the nuclear fallout of those contractive habits of the past. Like, sometimes I shouldn't go down that route. It's a balance, or it's about progress, not perfection, right? I'm sitting here recording this episode on the side of the road, looking at the water, walking the dog, multitasking. Yeah, I just want to invite you to have an inquiry and to ask yourself, what are your big rocks? What are you spending your time and energy in that you could potentially divert back to the big things that fill up your cup, light your soul on fire, and will catapult you in the direction of making your dreams and goals a reality? I think there's so much power and magic in being still and taking the time to reflect. That is, sometimes we miss the little things, and failing to acknowledge the little things sometimes has us distracted and focusing on the big things. And if you can't see the trees, you're definitely not ever going to be able to see the forest. I really encourage everyone to take a couple of moments each day, sit in stillness, listen to your soul, and really hone in on what's important and reflect on your achievements, whether it be drinking 3 liters of water a day or drinking 2 cups as opposed to 1. We really do need to take time to acknowledge the progress. Otherwise, we can get quite bogged down and distracted and anxious in the pursuit of perfection, not really understanding and appreciating that where we are, here and now, is the perfect timing, as the universe tends to give us what we need. It's not necessarily always what we think we want. Yeah, so there we go. Last day of 39, I'm spending it with you guys, sharing the magic of being in progress, not perfection. I guess said another way, that could definitely articulate that life is about the journey, not the destination. Have a beautiful day. Thank you all for joining me. Oh, so excited to be here with you. So excited to connect with you. And what I can say is we have got some massive guests coming up on the show. Reality TV stars, OnlyFans superstars, boxing champions, hip hop and rap artists. The list goes on. All super inspiring, super motivating, highly successful individuals who have been there, done that, broken the fast, still whilst living an expansive, highly successful, high voltage, impactful life. Have a beautiful day. Don't forget to keep hydrated, stay fabulous, and don't ever forget to be kind.